Becoming wealthy is something most of us think about pretty often. The world has always had a fascination with the super rich, whether it's the cars they drive, the things they buy, or even just how they got their start in life. We all seem to love a story about the people at the top of the ladder. What we don't tend to think about, however, is carving out our own future and becoming rich ourselves. The current top 10 richest people in the world are all entrepreneurs who made their billions in the world of business. It takes a huge amount of time and dedication to establish and manage a successful business. There will always be considerable risks involved with the solid potential for failure, but that powerful entrepreneurial spirit in the wealthy and successful acts as the bedrock to glory. Taking charge of your own destiny and becoming your own boss is one of the most rewarding roads to success. Additionally, most business owners understand that free markets can also result in financial rewards and the ability to become extremely wealthy over time. In a recent survey of wealthy business owners, 9 out of 10 professed a desire to increase their personal wealth even further than they already had to increase their standing in society and their power. Most successful business owners understand the connection between increasing personal wealth and the success of their ventures. And although having a position at the top of a successful company is often a surefire way to get rich, the simplest way to increase your personal wealth as an entrepreneur is to have a large ownership in a successful business, usually in the form of shares. As the business grows, so does the value of your ownership. Thus, here's a look at why a majority of the rich are business people. Humble beginnings. In 2019, Jeff Bezos became the world's first ever centibillionaire. This means he had a net worth of over $100 billion, an achievement that had never been reached before in modern history. Towards the end of 2020, his net worth had doubled to over $200 billion, an almost unheard of amount of money. However, he didn't start off this way. In fact, he had a fairly normal upbringing considering the lofty heights he reached later in life. Born to a high school student and a bike shop owner, Bezos spent part of his school years as a breakfast chef for McDonald's. A pretty humble start for the guy that changed the face of online retail. Bezos rode the Amazon hype from a simple online book retailer all the way to the top until they became one of the biggest companies in the world. However, you don't have to stay at the top of your own company forever to get rich. Currently, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, is mostly known for his company Tesla Motors. But did you know a lot of his early wealth came from the sales of his first few companies? His first major venture was a web software enterprise by the name of Zip2 that he started with his brother Kimball Musk. In February of 1999, the company was sold to American brand Compaq, netting Elon a cool $22 million for his 7% ownership share. Using this money, he then founded X.com, which he eventually merged with Confinity to become PayPal, which was sold to eBay in 2002, netting Elon a further $165 million. This all happened in just 7 years. Pretty good going, right? And Elon's not the only entrepreneur to sell their hugely successful companies in favor of cash. Ander Michelena and John Huriarte, founders of the event ticket marketplace TicketBiz.com, slowly and carefully grew their business over just 7 years. After growing it to a 300-employee, 48-country brand by 2016, it was acquired by eBay for an incredible $200 million plus a 50% ownership share. Following this, they started All Iron Ventures, a Spanish investment firm, who in November 2020 closed its first fund of 66.5 million euros, the largest debut VC fund ever in Spain's history, all done completely independently without additional public investors. This allowed them to take the well-earned cash they'd worked hard for in their first shot at entrepreneurship and invest it into additional companies and startups, giving those smaller brands a shot at the upper echelons of business. Revolutionary technology. The tech behemoth Apple Incorporated wasn't always such a household name. In fact, at one point in 1997, a few years after parting ways with founder Steve Jobs, Apple was moments away from total bankruptcy. In 2000, Steve Jobs was crowned CEO once more and began Apple's journey into the social consciousness as it moved away from just computers and into software, mobile devices, and the music industry. After the launch of the long-rumored iPhone in 2007, the company sold over 270,000 units in less than 2 days, making the device a massive success and a complete game-changer for the industry. It's now thought that there are over 1.5 billion Apple products in use worldwide. On February 2, 2021, shares in the car company Kia Motors jumped almost 14.5% following a news report that Apple Incorporated was planning on investing an approximate of $3.6 billion as a part of a partnership with the South Korean manufacturer to build new electric cars. The plans look to set up production with Kia and build Apple cars at the automaker's facility in the United States. Apple cars are set to hit the roads by 2024 with a production volume of 100,000 vehicles every year. 10 years ago, smart cars were an idea from science fiction, but it looks like we could be less than half a decade away from seeing them on our roads in daily life. In August 2018, Apple reached heights no other American company had reached before, becoming the first publicly traded U.S. company to be valued at over $1 trillion. Just 2 years later, in 2020, that value had doubled to $2 trillion, proving that taking major leaps can be the difference between success and failure. Does self-employment equal wealth? Think you've got the next big money-making idea? Well, make sure that it makes you wealthy and not your boss. Very few billionaires have risen through the ranks from the bottom of their company to the top, instead starting their own ventures and cashing in on the success because they made the rules. Whilst in a fixed career, although you're secure and may even be able to negotiate promotions or pay raises, these are often few and far between. However, working for yourself means you're almost always in charge of the money you earn, what your own personal worth is, and how your clients and customers perceive your value. The writers of the 1996 bestseller The Millionaire Next Door, William Damko and Thomas Stanley, wrote, 20% of the affluent households in America are headed by retirees. Of the remaining 80%, more than 2/3 are headed by self-employed owners of businesses. In America, fewer than 1 in 5 households, or about 18%, is headed by a self-employed business owner or professional. But these self-employed people are 4 times more likely to become millionaires than those who work for others. It may seem like the less secure option, regardless if you're in a position to work for yourself or kickstart a new business venture. Make sure you do, because in the end it does pay off, along with interest. Most scalable industries. With the boom of the internet and the total availability of mobile devices in every corner of the globe, there truly never has been a better time to begin a new digital startup that finds a niche audience, fills a gap in the market, and grows in almost the blink of an eye. 30 years ago, if you wanted to start a new business, you'd need an office space, a full team of staff, a management structure, and a pension plan. Now all you need is a handful of like-minded individuals and a smartphone, and you can take over the world without having to pay through the nose for expensive overheads and infrastructure. One of the questions that comes up often when people want to begin a new business venture is, what actually defines a startup? A startup basically creates and commercializes a proprietary product that rapidly scales to global proportions without linear dependence on human capital. It could be moving into completely uncharted territory and inventing a new groundbreaking piece of technology or a solution, or it could be in a well-trodden industry that simply needs shaking up. For instance, Airbnb, one of the most surprising successes of recent years, didn't invent the need for accommodation, nor did they invent the concept of renting space. However, they took roughly $70 billion worth of bookings in 2019 with just 600 employees and operate in 220 countries and regions. That's roughly 500,000 different accommodation options compared with the Grand Hotelier Hilton, who roughly employs a massive staff of 300,000 worldwide and 575 hotels across the globe. Now, although their business models and designs differ, it just goes to show how much Airbnb have shaken up the leisure and tourism industry in just a few years, with CEO Brian Chesky worth $11.1 billion at just 39 years old and making it onto Time's 100 Most Influential People of 2015 list. Now, Airbnb is worth more than Accor, Hyatt, and intercontinental hotel chains, and already worth half the value of Hilton, despite being around for only 13 years against Hilton's 100-year history. The 21st century is full of stories like this, of young industry shakers that completely changed the landscape with a simple idea. Just look at modern companies like Facebook, Uber, or Netflix, to name a few. But how does one become hyper-scalable? And how do you leverage that to become successful and wealthy? The answer requires understanding the rules of a rapidly changing digital landscape and to use them to your advantage. By keeping your ear to the ground and combining technology with the insights and creativity of a like-minded team, you're able to use them as stepping stones for growth and innovation. 21st century entrepreneurs are doing in a few years now what would have taken traditional businesses decades to achieve. It's not just investments, oil, and telecom that place people at the top of the billionaires list, but forward thinking, game changing technology, and solutions that become the fabric of our very society. So there you have it. Do you agree with our notions? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button and help us reach 100 subscribers, which we'd be immensely grateful for. Until next time, take care.